I'm going to go into the Late Kick inbox. Jaden sent us something on Twitter, and at Late Kick Josh is where you can do that, by the way. And he asked kind of a version of a question a lot of people have been asking, and that is, how should they handle the college football playoff if it is to happen this year? So I'll answer it kind of like Kevin Warren dealt with Nebraska. I'm not going to beat around the bush about it. I'm going to say, as normal. That's how. 2 words, period. As normal. Handle it as normal. I think the trick here is not to use August logic for a December question. And what I mean there is this doesn't have to be decided now. It's not going to be decided now. Half the room, if not more than half the room, doesn't even think we're going to make this matter anyway, because a lot of people think the season isn't going to get in. But the point is, if we end up having to worry about the answer to this question, that means that we have gotten a college football season in. So forget about the August logic. That's where we are right now. Let's pretend it's early December. Let's pretend that we're creeping ever so closer to conference championship games. And the ACC and the Big 12 and the ACC and who knows how many G5s could end up at this dance this year, they have actually gotten a season in. Well, if we get to that point, that means just that. Entire seasons have been gotten in. At that point, you got to think about how bad the Big Ten is going to look. You got to think about how negative the PR towards the Pac-12 is going to look. At that point, I don't think there's very much sympathy for the fact that those two voluntarily, not forced to, voluntarily postpone their seasons that, as it turns out, according to the evidence in front of us, and it's plentiful by this point in December, didn't need to be postponed. So at that point, I think the overwhelming sentiment will be, you choose from the folks who are at the table right now. And we got 3 of them who were bold enough to stand firm in what their medical advice was. Their medical advice validated and verified, and they're here now. So if we got a couple from the SEC, if we got a couple from out there in the Big 12, the ACC, whoever we have, we're taking 4 of you, and we're going to have our college football playoff. And that's it. That's really the end. Sometimes we like to stretch these out a little bit because it's better for our SEO when we put the individual edit of the video up later. And this is kind of me stretching now, but that's how you do it. There were choices made. There are choices still to be made, but there are choices that have already been made by the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Just as there will be very consequential choices made by the SEC, Pac-12, or Big 12 rather, and the ACC. The choices have consequences. This is part of it. If you make the choice, and hopefully a very informed decision, to have your seasons and someone else didn't, you're not going to get opportunities taken away from you. I don't care how many people write in newspaper columns, oh, this is going to have an asterisk next to it. Oh, this won't be a valid championship. Do you think it's valid? Because if you do, forget what anyone else says. And I can promise you, I can guarantee you, we don't do that very often, if these 3 conferences are able to get seasons in, at least one man on this program is going to have no problem whatsoever sitting here at this desk and looking you in the eye and saying, whoever has confetti raining down on them in, where is it at this year? That's how preoccupied I've been. I don't even know where the national championship is. Houston, maybe? Anyway, wherever it is, that's my champion. That'll be my champion. Now, you can play for the Big Ten title in the spring. You can play for the Pac-12 championship in the spring. If no one else wants to hold that championship as valid, I'll hold that playoff and that champion as valid.